Some wireless earbuds, and they're all right. I'm just so worried that I'm going to lose them. But okay. All right, here we go. Live, so there will be no doors. Anyway, welcome to tonight's episode, or the latest edition, whenever you happen to be listening. Tonight's topic of discussion is a very hot button in the news here lately, that being the concept of a passport. This, for those who are normies, this may be the first time you've heard about such a concept of a
You can't call us woke anymore.
Passport.
Yeah, you can't call us woke anymore. That was commandeered by a different movement. We were using it back in the day, but
tinfoil hat wearers, or the conspiracy analysts, or the folks that pay attention. Let's go there. We've known about this for a while, dude. We don't want to be. It used to be cool, and like you said, it was part to do with the current woke crowd. For those who don't know or have been living under a rule recently, the concept of a vaccine passport, or a COVID passport, or a health passport, is something where somebody, whether a private institution or government entity, can demand your vaccination status, and this is just the vehicle to you being able, or being forced to provide that information to, could be to McDonald's in order to gain entry to their building, which is a bridge too far for me. The neurotic, hypochondriac folks among us, unfortunately, have grasped on political power, and now we're afraid of everything, including while very incredibly evil virus. If you already have one foot in the grave, you are just as well off as the seasonal flu. You know what? If data doesn't show that, please look at it again. You probably if you haven't read that, or you're unwilling to read that, you probably only watch CNN. So anyway, yeah, you exclusively get your news from a 3-letter network, and that's it. And you don't do any basic data analysis with publicly available. I'm not even talking about advanced or convoluted data analysis that you need a statistics degree to do. If you just look at basic visualizations of the data that's widely available from government sources since for the last year, you'd realize.
No, I mean, Endorf. Yeah, like you said, this does not take any hardcore number crunching. Some quick maths will do you to figure this out.
You don't need to you don't need to know advanced numbers. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be able to do any sort of regression analysis.
Mm-hmm. It's what the data shows. It's what the data has always shown from the beginning of this, and
you need to be able to count, and maybe do some basic division.
Look out your window and see that there aren't people dropping dead on every street corner. And you're just seeing people, people living their lives. When they're not being forced to stay inside their homes and be shut in. Dorf, this.
Well, and to be entirely fair, I say that from the perspective of somebody who didn't miss a paycheck, was eligible for the government handouts, the stimmies, has got all his stimmy money and spent it, and never missed a day. When actually, quite frankly, I moved careers in the middle of this and got quite a substantial pay raise. So. I am doing well. My 2020, outside of some political
My asthmatic senior citizen father had it as well. He's fine. Smoked a cigar with him yesterday. He's just fine. Listen, Dorf, when it comes to this vaccine passport, you're a data guy. You're great at this stuff. You really are. I'm always impressed by your data analysis. You're a smart guy with science, with numbers, things like that. Comes to the vaccine passport thing. I don't have a ton of information for you, man. I really don't. I know there isn't a whole lot of information even on the table yet, but I'm not coming from you from this is medically unnecessary. I heard some people in Congress talking about how vaccine passports aren't fair yet because not everyone has access to the vaccine yet. That opinion does nothing for me. Talking about how they're not fair today, but they will be 6 months from now or even 6 years from now is not.
It was a pretty good year. So I'm not even saying this because I have an axe to grind because I was personally affected. I haven't gotten my financial and well-being hasn't been affected. If this was airborne Ebola, which Ebola, despite advances in medical science, you got a 75 with Western medicine, immediate hospital intervention, adequate resources at your disposal. It's 75-25 that you live, 25% chance you die. Best case scenario. Your odds are usually, especially the neck of the woods where traditional Ebola is commonly found, that being in the African bush, that's a coin flip if you make it. This isn't airborne Ebola, guys. You don't bleed from every orifice and die painfully quickly. This would be an entirely different story, an entirely different condition where we may have said that some of the interventions and things that we tried as Western society here over the last year, you know what? It's rational. What New Zealand and Australia did was rational. Because the last we need to do is having, body stacking
Dorf,
up in the streets.
Dorf, I agree with you on part of that. I agree with you on part of that. I agree that this is not the Black Death. This is not airborne Ebola. But bottom line, when it comes to this, I don't care.
This ain't it, guys.
I don't care. Because what they're talking about, and they haven't even come full out with what they're talking about with an idea of a vaccine passport or a vaccine identification card. This is tyranny. Okay? This is absolute 100% tyranny. And quite frankly, listen, I remember when Donald Trump was running against Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely.
I was hosting the Xcast with good friend of ours, Adam Hernandez, back at a different network on the Empire Media. And I remember him and I having the conversations and us saying that I can't believe more people aren't running third party. I can't believe more people aren't going libertarian, or he was actually a Green Party member at the time. I can't believe more people aren't going away from this when our choices are Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Okay, they didn't. No big deal. But the idea that you statists have lived through the last year, the same goddamn year I lived through, and you aren't maybe, yeah, and that you're looking at me and still saying, oh, you voted libertarian,
and you trust, and you're okay.
Way to throw your vote away.
It's just beyond.
Quite honestly, I don't know how you libertarians out there haven't become full-out anarchists over the last year. But for those of you people out there who are still just watching Fox News or CNN and fighting the good fight for your team, because my team can't do wrong, your tribe Your tribe. I hear a lot of people equate it to team sports. I think to say it's a tribe is even better because your tribe can just simply do no wrong.
Well, that's team.
Sure.
That's
sure.
what, like,
but at least with a team, at least with a team sport, you'll occasionally say, "God, we got beat tonight. We got outplayed." Where if your tribe goes wrong, it must be some evil is afoot because your tribe is the one that has the answers. So, listen, I'm here on this show tonight to call people out, okay? And I'm not going to make a lot of friends doing this, but it isn't enough to just think that this sucks. Okay? It's not. I got to tell you people out there, the only way that this can be averted, and I don't think it's going to. I do not have high hopes. I have low hopes at best. But this has got to be met with resistance, people. And it's got to be met by resistance from, I don't care if you're scared of the Rona or not scared of the Rona. I don't care if you think the vaccine's a good idea and you want to get it, or if you don't think the vaccine is a good idea and you want to get it. Because it shouldn't be any of my business. It's not any of anyone's business. But it's not enough to just think this sucks. It's no longer an okay excuse to say, I'm pragmatic, so I'm just going to do it. It's not okay. It's not okay to bow to this tyranny, people. It isn't. It's not right. You have to stand up. People truly have to stand up to this because this is tyranny. Now, people can still pretend like they're insulting me and call me a tinfoil hat, a conspiracy theorist, a truther, a whatever terrible thing that you think is insulting to me. But the conspiracy theories that the serious researchers have been talking about for the last 25 years,
they've all come true.
They've all come true, guys. They've all come true. Listen. Do the elites, do they call themselves the Illuminati and wear red robes and have rituals and worship Moloch? I don't know.
No,
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care.
They all go to Davos and drink fake martinis and plot their way that they're going to use their power and influence to manipulate the world. And
this isn't even the Great Reset, people. This is the world ID that we've been warning about. This is the new world order. This is it. This is happening worldwide. I hear Republicans say to me all the time, well, oh, geez, well, now that the election's over, this is all to get rid of Donald Trump. Really? They're making people wear masks in Bulgaria because Donald Trump, because the media doesn't like Donald Trump?
Because Orange Man bad, yeah.
They're making people wear masks and talking about vaccine cards in Iceland. Check yourself, people. This has nothing to do with your Republican Party. It has nothing to do with your Democratic Party. It's not who's calling the shots. You think this was all because of Donald Trump worldwide? No. You think
was it used by oppositional forces within U.S. domestic politics as a weapon against Donald Trump? Absolutely.
Sure. They use whatever means necessary.
Was that the goal? Was this an intentional lab or intentionally released in the population by the Chinese, other powerful influence within, internet politics to fundamentally change the world? I haven't seen any evidence to prove that, but sure as hell has been used ever since by some spurious people to reshape the world in their image. It's here's the thing, guys. It's not even. We've done this show. We did the show on the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, which is is everything the tinfoil hat crew has ever told you about. It's the secret cabal of the rich and powerful wanting to. It's not reshape the world in their image to and play I hate the term play God, but to fundamentally change human beings, because human beings are, but they feel like they can make things better. By if we
research the name Klaus Schwab and tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist. Look up that name. I didn't make that up.
Your guy that you're talking about, he is I believe, the head of the World Economic Forum. He's fucking out in public bragging about this shit. This isn't like some Alex Jones, we have the documents. No. Please. By the World Economic Forum. Not like leaked. They're open doing events about it and bragging about it. Oh, God,
right.
I don't know how much more obvious it can be. Like, yeah, we're gonna, it's all over misplaced freaking. I have a better word for it. Josh isn't meant to be disparaging about Catholic, but it's misplaced Catholic guilt about that we're human beings, and humanity in Western society is fucking horrible, and we should, self-flagellate ourselves and destroy ourselves to fix our original sin. Secular.
Listen, Dorf, I'm with you here. Listen, I'm not trying to. Please know that I'm picking on everybody here. I'm not trying to. I'm not one of these guys that I have zero tolerance for the conspiracy theory seeker of truth who still votes for a Republican or a Democrat in 2021. All right, I'm done with you. So you Democrats out there who think you have a monopoly on science because you're just so much smarter than the rest of us.
No.
Please go.
You have a monopoly.
Yeah, please go.
You have a monopoly on the scientifically illiterate who think they're a hell of a lot smarter than they are.
Take 7 minutes and Google Klaus Schwab. For you Republicans out there with your MAGA hats on, do you think if Donald Trump won the election, or if Joe Biden didn't steal the election from him, if you're that guy, if Donald Trump was still president, you think we wouldn't be talking about vaccine passports? No, we'd still be talking about vaccine passports. Donald Trump presided over the biggest loss of liberty in American history.
And he absolutely
that happened
did.
under his watch.
You know what? He also oversaw and encouraged money printer go burr. I hate to break it to you folks. We're now starting to pay for all the 40% of the U.S. monetary supply in 6 months. That's banana republic shit. And now you've got Joe Biden starting his tour de America about, I want to spend $3 trillion on infrastructure, guys, because it's not infrastructure, it's not roads and bridges, it's green energy mumbo jumbo woohoo, and it's not, this is exactly what it's fun. Here, 40% of the bill is a federal government slush fund that we can use however the fuck we want. The other one is, the rest of it is, this is direct grants to states. Their 40% is direct grants to states where they can use it for whatever the fuck they want. Heavily biased towards the the coasts and the blue and blue country, and the other 20% has nothing to fucking do with it because it's the fucking congressional pork.
Dorf, in a world of,
it's not like we have the money. There's no plan. We're going to raise taxes on the corporations and the mega rich. Well, bud, that ain't going to come close to fund. Even if nothing else remains unchanged, the economy still turns along at its current trajectory, and you can expect to not, your increased taxes is not going to cut business revenue or personal incomes, and you're going to still be able to collect the same amount of taxes from people that you would in a traditional year, which is fucking lunacy. That's never how it works. Even if you come to that, you are nowhere fucking close to funding this wish list. Nowhere fucking close.
Dorf, in a world of dishonesty, vocabulary becomes the tool of a liar.
Yeah,
that's it.
You are.
They say words like infrastructure.
3 more. We're already $30 trillion in the hole in direct debt obligations. That has nothing to do with the future unfunded liabilities, mostly in social programs. You know what? How you outgrow that is you keep growing the economy and you add more people. I hate to say it, you add more tax slaves. That's how you outdo it. That's how you outrun.
Oh, you should say it. It needs to be said.
That's how you outrun that train. That's the bed we've made. That's what we're going to have to lie in. It's fucking horrific, but it is what it is.
Dorf, we all know what infrastructure is.
We can spend.
We all know what infrastructure is.
$3 trillion. You know damn well. Add another 25% of that, because this is the federal government. We don't do anything on time or on budget. Add another 25%. Okay, so let's add another $1 trillion to that overall and spending to see these programs to the end. So conservatively, $4 trillion we don't have. That is in 2018. That's like half of the entire discretionary budget.
Yeah. No, and Dorf, listen, shit. Dorf, we all know what.
I hate to break it to you.
We all know what infrastructure is when they say that. It's societal. And so when they say infrastructure, and then they're doing things that aren't infrastructure, they're lying. They're lying. They're full of shit. They aren't telling the truth, because you can't say we're doing infrastructure, but then secretly behind the scenes say now infrastructure includes these 5 things that infrastructure is never included. You don't get to change the meaning of the word infrastructure
or the COVID relief
because
bill,
you want to do stuff.
The COVID relief bill, the latest one that passed under the Biden administration, it was 91% pork. 91% pork.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it's not like, okay, we're running a surplus. We can afford to be extra generous right now. The economy's churning along great. Yet we're still running these surpluses. All our obligations are paid. We can afford to dish out some money. Fuck no.
Mm-hmm.
We are printing like 50% of everything we spend at the federal level. This isn't just a $1 trillion annual deficit, which if you think about it, that's about a tenth of what we spend overall. That's 10%. That's not great, but it's not economy ruining in the immediate term. It's not good. We're not gonna burst into flames as a macro economy because of it. But bro, you're in a recession. Large self-inflicted recession, but there were plenty of bubbles that could have burst and put us right here too. And who knows? They might still. I hate to break it to you folks. We printed all this money. Everything is about to get expensive. I encourage you to go to the St. Louis branch of the Federal Reserve's Economic Research webpage right now and look at commodity prices over the last 3 months. Your basic paper goods, so your basic paper, anything that you need that involves wood pulp, which is paper, packaging, boxes, paper plates, anything that requires wood pulp in it. The wood pulp market has gone up 15% in 2 months after being entirely stable for like the last 6 years. 15%, and the line ain't calming down. March number, that's through February. January and February, it's gone up. The March numbers won't be in for another couple weeks. That line ain't slowing down. I hate to break it to you. Until very recently, that was a commodity group that I was heavily involved in purchasing stuff for as a professional. That curve ain't slowing down. Your cost of everything.
You're right, Dorf.
Your cost of everything is about to hit the consumer's wallet in a bad way. Not only have you killed wage growth, realized wage growth. You can say about Tangerine Mussolini. There was during his 4 years adjusted for, I believe it's the metric is adjusted for inflation. I may be wrong here. The average household in America made $5,000 more than it did when he started. 8 years of Obama, it went up $1,000 total in 8 years. It was 5,004 with Trump. You can give him credit for that. That shit's tanked, and that's even including the 2020 slide backwards. The average American household still makes $5,000 more than it did when it started, when his administration started.
Yeah,
you can't take that. You can't be like, "Oh, Orange Man bad doesn't matter." No, it does, guys. The average American household had another $5,000 to spend on an annual basis. That's a big fucking deal. Considering the previous several administrations didn't do that together.
Thing is this, too, Dorf. You know, for those people out there who are saying they couldn't wait for 2020 to come to an end, I hate to break it to you, but 2021 is going to be just as bad, and 2022 might be worse. Okay, this is getting bad. I ragged on the MAGA crew like crazy for thinking this was about Trump, but you guys out there really. I mean, we've all seen Joe Biden talk. Is there really anybody out there who thinks this cat's calling the shots? That guy's in charge? And don't let the Fox. I'll interrupt the Fox News crew here, coming in saying it's gonna be Kamala Harris. You think Kamala Harris is the one calling the shots? Really? Is that what you think? Is she the mastermind behind all this? It's an illusion, guys. It's an illusion, people. That's not what's going on. All right, this nonsense you're watching on the news is a diversion from really nasty things that are happening right now. So yeah, I'm no economic advisor. That is for certain. And I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But one thing history shows us about depressions and recessions is when this stuff's about to happen, buy what the rich people are buying. So
guess what?
You got some extra cash.
You know what they've all been buying over the last year? Land and Bitcoin.
Right. But the Bitcoin, you're probably too late to the party on that one.
Yeah. But
listen, here's my advice. And like I said, I'm no genius. Buy some antiques. Buy yourself a classic car. Buy yourself a boat. Buy something that will still be worth something when this is over. Because I don't know what we'll be trading with 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
It may not be the US dollar.
But buy something, right, but buy something that will be worth something when this something happens. So seriously, buy a 1960s Mustang. Buy a speedboat, buy a jet ski, buy a snowmobile. Buy, and I'm talking to working class people here. If you're a millionaire, then don't take your advice from me.
I'm going to disagree with you there. Those are all depreciating assets.
Okay.
Buy real shit like stuff that's a very good precious metals is a hedge against inflation. Well, that's not a hedge against economic collapse. Buy land, clear it, develop it, something with water on it. Get ready to be able to learn yourself. The best thing you can do is invest right in skills, because you know what? Even if shit somehow we stop teetering off the edge and we don't go tits up here, it's still going to be very useful to you to be able to know how to farm. Shit. Basic animal husbandry. Hell, I buy guns, buy ammo, get trained. My next major purchase is, unfortunately, the rifle style that I want to acquire next is nowhere to go now. Like worldwide, you can't get one. An AR chambered in .308 right now is just you can't find one unless, of course, you're willing to pay times what you should.
Mm-hmm.
Body armor.
Yeah,
buy armor, buy water purification systems. Invest in individual solar technology, something that can power your functional life if shit goes south. Something and learn.
Buy booze.
Yeah.
Buy cigarettes. Buy cigars.
Learn how to fix it.
Buy something that somebody will want in a couple years. Seriously, you don't drink. Perfect. Buy some booze. Buy you don't smoke. Buy a couple cartons of cigarettes.
I'm not saying. And guys, guess what? there's a pretty good chance a hot war is going to start happening. Taiwan shot, the day we're recording this, Taiwan shot down a Chinese fighter jet today. Not to mention the shit that's going on in the Middle East between Saudi Arabia and Yemen. After the Biden administration bailed on Saudi Arabia and their fight against I forget how you even pronounce that terrorist group's name, bailed on and providing, logistics and air support to the Saudis. And what do you know? Shit started popping off in that neck of the woods again. Not to say that, the U.S. being, world police is a great thing. However, actions that do have consequences. Russia and Ukraine are about to start shooting at each other. There's a ceasefire that's just about to end, and Russia is bringing all their military personnel, including like their bridging units, the mobile units that essentially have tanks, that are essentially tanks with bridges on their back. Those are all steaming towards the Ukrainian border today. Shit's about to pop off. And I hate to break it to you, the idea that, this thing is nuclear restraint. Every single war in history, the cutting edge technology gets used. Because if you have a card, you use it. If there's a war between two nuclear powers, nukes will be exchanged. You better get used to that reality. And you know what? I hope to God that doesn't happen. The best thing you can do, not invest in a boat or a jet ski, Josh. Because you know what? Boats may have a functional value in the future. It'll allow you to access water-based resources. You're still going to need gasoline to operate them. Guess what's
Dorf. When I say that, you're leaving out the major part I said about buying classic things. I was using that in terms of antiques. A 67 Mustang isn't going to be worth less 5 years from now because it's 5 years older. It's a classic.
Well,
those are sought after things. And there will always be people with money who want them, is my point.
If shit goes tits up, there won't be people with money. That's my point. You may have a point there of getting a 67.
Dorf, there is always people with money. Always people with money.
Fair enough.
The people who bought that kind of crap before the Great Depression found a buyer through it all. People have money during wars. People have money during bad times. I don't. You might not. Your neighbor might not. But somebody always has money. Always, always. I started to mention earlier that, I'm already hearing politicians saying that things like a vaccine passport are wrong because not everyone has access to the vaccine yet. Or not everyone can afford the vaccine yet.
The folks that are saying that are surface level thinkers, and they're my favorite it's not the smooth brain, it's not the dummies, it's the temperatures, the temperature IQs.
Sure.
That's
right.
That's the great thing.
It doesn't.
It's not fair because not everybody's had their turn yet. No, it's fucking wrong because it's tyrannical.
Exactly. It does not matter. I don't care if the vaccine is free and there's 50 of them on every corner. The vaccine passport is the part that's wrong. None of that matters. It's not wrong because you can't get the vaccine yet. What? No, it's wrong because it's wrong.
And here's the thing, Josh. There's a certain sect of the Libertarian Party, specifically a goddamn influential writer at Reason Magazine, Robbie Suave, who I am just fucking fed up with. Robbie Suave is okay with any sort of, he's the meme of the cartoon character getting stepped on by the boot of it. At least it's not Trump. Well, at least it's not the government.
Right.
He's fucking. Oh, I am totally okay, guys, with a private entity requiring a vaccine passport as long as it's not the government. No, fucking tyranny is tyranny, dude. You are everything. You are a smooth brain. I know I just said smooth brain is the outdated insult here, but Jesus Christ, man, can you have more of a room temperature in a take here? No, it's wrong.
Listen, Dorf.
It's wrong if anybody does it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, listen, I don't care if the way I become enslaved and completely lose my liberty, I don't care if it's more like 1984 or more like Brave New World. It really doesn't matter to me. I don't care if it's the government or Ford Motor Company who takes away my rights. My rights are gone either way. It does not matter to me. So this idea that, exactly like you said, that it's, oh, wait, this tyranny's okay. It's not the government doing it directly.
Okay, because it's not the it's only a mega corporation doing it. It's not the government.
Sure. As if that's capitalism, right? As if that's
right.
Truly unfettered capitalism. This idea
quite
that,
frankly, I know the term fascist is thrown around way too easily and way too liberally in today's day and age, but that is the absolute merging of corporation and state. You know what? The state
absolutely.
can't get, it's gonna use its influence, whether direct over the power of the taxation. It's gonna get its way. Oh, the Fourth Amendment is prevents the government from directly requiring a vaccine passport. Don't worry, we'll develop it for the private corporations, give it to them for free. That way they can just do it, and we'll get our ends met. We'll get there to our ends. It's not tyranny.
Right.
It doesn't matter that we gave it to them. It's a private corporation that can do what it wants. No, it fucking can't.
No, exactly. What we've seen over the last year is government subcontracting its tyranny to private business.
It's the government's hit the gas pedal on it, but it ain't new. It's not a new concept.
As if Target would have all of a sudden said, you have to wear a mask to enter our building if there weren't nationwide mask mandates. That's not a private business doing what they want. That's a private business kowtowing and kneeling to the government because they're cowards. They're cowards who care only about money, and that's fine. You're a private business. All you're supposed to care about is money.
Here's the thing. It's a corporation. All they do is think about money. The problem is a lot of the social problems that we've gotten into here recently is because corporations stopped caring about just money. I hate to break it to you, this whole bullshit, I know we talked pre-show about this, and we're going to go into this now. Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines is all up in arms, feigning outrage about the new Georgia voting rights bill or changes to their voting system. If you actually read the bill, it's a Democrat's wet dream minus like 2 lines. It's everything the Democrat Party has bitched about for the last 18 months. You got it.
Sure.
You fucking got it. Like 2 or 3 things. Coca-Cola it's not in their corporate values. I asked you.
I truly wish that we were.
You want to get involved in politics? You want to pick sides? Get every Republican legislature, which is like 2/3 of the states, by the way. Start throwing your weight around. Do what Georgia did today, or is starting to do today to Delta. Oh, we're highly disappointed. This is not Delta. This is not what we want to see. Okay, fuck you. This special carve-out tax credit we've got for your jet fuel purchases here in the state to the tune of 25 or 35 annually? Fuck you. It's gone. You want to speak up and you want to be progressive? There's going to be consequences. If you want to focus on things other than maximizing your shareholders' return, we're going to punish you for it. You are not an engine of social change.
Dorf,
you are not people. Silence brand. No. Go sell your death soda to somebody else.
As consumers and as just individuals, the individual is the smallest minority, as I like to point out very frequently. And as individuals, as consumers, wouldn't it be nice if we could just either purchase goods and services from Delicate Airlines or Coca-Cola because we liked what they had to offer? Wouldn't it be nice if, I don't care how the My Pillow guy votes. I don't care that he's maybe not the smartest dude in the world. Did he make a good pillow? Is it cost effective? Do I want it? Now, personally, I wouldn't spend $50 on a pillow, but some people would, and I hear his pillows are pretty cool. Why do I care how he votes? Why do I care what's going on? Why do I care that he maybe smoked too much crack a long time ago and doesn't know how things work? Did he make a good pillow? Do you like it? I should be able to buy Coke or Pepsi based solely on which one I think is a better price and which one I taste better. Yeah, I drink Pepsi over Coke. I always have most of my life, just because I like the taste better. That's it. I shouldn't have to worry about what they. I mean, I would love to say I'm boycotting Coke now. I preferred Pepsi anyway. Damn it. I can't boycott Coke. Who cares? It shouldn't matter. And with all their guidelines, I'm probably never going to fly on a commercial jet again. So
I hate to break it to you.
So there goes Delicate Airlines.
Delta, as someone who's about to book a flight, Delta comes to my local airport. I live in a small. I have a regional. It's not a regional airport. It's technically international. It's got like 2 international a week, but
they fly to Canada, which is like 6 hours away by car.
Canada and Mexico. So it's technically an international airport. There's like during the summer, there's like 2 flights to Canada a week. During the winter, there's like 4 to Mexico and back. Anyway, Delta is my choices for a trip I'm going to take this fall. They are no longer one of my choices. American Airlines, I believe, has said something about a voter rights bill in Dallas. Also one of my choices. It's not one of my choices anymore. There was a polling done this week. Yahoo and YouGov released and analyzed. I haven't seen the raw data myself, but I've seen a couple analysis of it. Sports. The whole concept of ship and dribble. Half of the people surveyed said that they are watching less sports now because it went woke.
Yeah.
Half.
It's
not like 10%. They've given
Dorf, if you think about it,
the sports leagues have given every other excuse under the sun. Why are our ratings down? Why are our ratings down? There's more people. Mm-hmm. There's more online and more people with stream. Oh, it's the cord cut. I hate to break it to you. All your
sports ratings should be going through the roof.
Yeah, people.
It should be going through the roof, Dorf.
The NBA Finals is like the most watched thing on television, especially with how many extra international eyeballs are on it.
If you just take into consideration all the empty seats in those stadiums, if all those people who would have been sitting in those seats were at home watching it, that alone would be something significant. But obviously, people are disenchanted with sports. They can't see the games. They're stuck at home, and they're still not watching it.
The sport,
they're done with it, man.
The sport. Okay,
I'm one of them.
As you and I know, we met because through a mutual friend originally. Because I wrote for his website.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be the guy that would
and I hosted his sports show.
Yeah,
co-hosted his sports show.
Yeah,
when you started writing for said website.
Yeah.
Yes.
Neither of us involved with that anymore. I would be the guy who set his life around being able to, scheduled his life around being able to watch games. I was doing shift work at that point, going to college, working in retail, writing for a website as a hobby. I didn't make any money. I didn't make a damn cent for it. I would set my life around being able to watch sports games.
Yeah.
I would set my life around that. I, for the last 18 months, can't be bothered. Sports. Can't be bothered. MLB opening day was today. I was like, yeah, cool. And that was the sport that went least woke. They did some bullshit during the opening week last year with BLM branding. It pissed me off. And and that was it. It was over.
Now, Dorf, as somebody
who used to set a calendar around the NFL and NCAA football, I can't be bothered. I watched half of the Super Bowl in like half of another regular season game. That's it. I used to watch. I was I lived in the Metro Detroit area at the time. I used to watch every Lions game. I watched every Thursday night game, every Sunday night game, every Monday. Involved in any of those. I watched all of them. I would even do stuff as long as like live coverage and like live tweeting games for our previous network. I can't. That was less than a decade ago. I can't be bothered. And that's not because my lifestyle has changed all that much. It really hasn't yet. I have not married yet. That's coming later this year. I don't have any children. I still have the same hobbies as I did before. Hell, we're still doing a podcast. I think my 10-year anniversary of being involved in a podcast is later this year. Oh, I can look up the exact date. I'm sure I think it's in the fall. I've still, to this day, I still do the same outside of work activities as I did before. I now work a more consistent schedule. I work 9 to 5 at a desk. I have even more ability to set my schedule around sports. I can't be bothered.
I'm with you.
That was my escape from reality. What I did to, it was a hobby. It's what I used to be in 5 fantasy football leagues at a time, and I'd usually win 3 of them. I haven't played in 2 years because I just can't be bothered. Because you know what? Escape from, politics has always been a hobby. I've been politically awake or politically engaged since I was about 15 years old. That was my escape. That was my escape valve. I took shit way too seriously, way too young. And I'm fully willing to admit that. Sports was my relief valve to that. And guess what? It's not that anymore because they're entirely entwined. I can't be bothered. And in the fact that everywhere I go now, even including in sports, where I look, I have to mask up, get your vaccine. What? Shut up, sports ball player. I don't need to get health or political advice from you. Shut up. I hate to be this guy. I'm totally about people's free speech. Love the First Amendment. Ardent defender. But you know what? You've turned me off. Your actions have had consequences. I cannot be bothered to be one of the eyeballs on a television or in a seat in a stadium that pay your salary. I can't be bothered anymore.
Dorf, don't you love the woke crew telling you that we follow the science?
Bullshit.
Now here's a sports ball player or the lead singer from Green Day telling you why masks are important. And isn't that just hilariously ironic?
A sports ball player who dropped out of college wouldn't have gotten had he not been a decent sports ball player and wasn't there to play school telling me literate how to interpret I hate to break it to you guys. I'm not going to die on this hill because you know what? If there's something I've missed, I'm fully willing to admit that my bandwidth isn't that wide. But there has been no definitive proof that a mask mandate has done jack shit. There's been evidence that it works and it doesn't. It's been a claim. It's been, quote, the science. It's been by medical professionals that it works. There has been no definitive proof, and studies that show that it does absolutely nothing have been suppressed. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
I the idea society are ignorant enough to think we can affect I don't remember exactly how many tiny little microns the novel coronavirus COVID-19 is. The idea that because somebody's grandma bought 3 layers of fabric from Joann Fabrics and sewed them together, and I wore that poorly fitting over my face that had anything to do with anything, is insane to me. Because you know damn well that you know, even if it was the weave in that fabric was small enough, you know well you're not going to get enough compliance to make a difference. And you're not going to get enough people, even if it was the claim is entirely accurate. Are you going to get the level of compliance necessary to do anything? No, you're not. As demonstrated, as I'm sure you've walked around, Josh, in public over the last year, how many people, you know, if wearing a mask properly over your nose and mouth, tight fit around all edges, was all you needed to do, what percentage of people do you think actually do that? It's shockingly low. It's really low. And if that's all it takes, the idea that, oh, well, we just didn't, you know, oh, there's a decline or a spike in COVID, we just aren't masking hard enough. Guys,
Dorf, I've been telling people, especially people that love the mask, been saying, you know, it's getting warmer, mosquito season is about to start, and I'm installing chain link fences to keep the mosquitoes out if you're interested. Because if you believe that mask hanging off your face or that piece of cloth hanging off your face is keeping off a virus, it's not. It's not. So hey, so you people out there listening, I'm installing chain link fences cheap. It'll keep the mosquitoes out. It can't hurt, right? Can't hurt.
The idea. Okay, so all right, we're gonna test things in a laboratory setting. Oh, look, masks work in a laboratory setting. What percentage of people actually do it exactly how in that laboratory test? It's really not. It's a very low percentage, guys. It's really low.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you use the boot of the state to make that happen. Any more aware about it? The idea that businesses have to keep signs on their front door in most states that say, "Oh, mask required." The idea that you're into this shit that somebody does. How dumb do you think people? The idea that we need to keep spending PSA dollars on it.
Pretty dumb, man. Pretty dumb.
How little do you think?
Dorf, have you listened to terrestrial radio lately?
No.
Have you listened to terrestrial radio lately?
I mean, more and more as I have a commute again. I will no longer be working out of my house here going forward. You know, if you know my old employer now, it's going to be about 40. But
the PSA propaganda
is insane.
Is endless. It's endless.
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
I mean, how much money? I know what it costs to advertise on a radio station. I mean, how much money is being spent or money is being lost to shove this down people's throats.
This isn't new.
Dorf, you know we can talk about masks all night.
This is no longer new.
We can talk about masks all night.
To the idea of, I hate to break it to you guys, you've maxed your compliance already. And if what you're saying still doesn't work, and you still keep, you know, oh, we just didn't do it good enough. I'm sorry. What you're saying, or you're never necessary to make it happen. So, alter your plans or back the fuck off. And the idea that, you know, vaccine passports, there's this super secure app that your cell phone, wiretap, easily, I hate to break it to you, there's how many commercially available types of cell phones is there? There's 2 operating systems that are essentially available in the United States. That being the Android, which is
half a dozen.
The Android, which is owned and operated by Google, and Apple, which is Apple. You know, there's some other fringe competitors, other soft options, but as far as general consumer adoption of other options, it's almost nothing. What do you think it is? I had, as a owner of a Android device, there's a reason I don't put anything important on this. There's a reason if I need to securely transmit vital information, it doesn't happen here. I don't like buying stuff on my cell phone with a credit card. I know there's plenty of consumers protections available to heaven forbid your credit card gets stolen. If you can prove fraud, you're not responsible for any of it, or like the maximum you're responsible for is like $50. I still do not want that going through my cell phone because I know how vulnerable they are. There's a reason folks who work in security or work in social media don't let their kids use it. There's a reason people who work in physical security don't have electronic locks. Because there's a reason people who work in specific industries don't use that product because they realize how shit it is. And we're going to have a app developed by, I'm sure, the lowest bidder, trust with vital medical information, which can influence, heaven forbid, a nefarious actor in China gets a hold of it and makes some bioweapon coded to your DNA to take you out. That sounds very tinfoily, but it's possible. Heaven forbid my insurance carrier gets a hold of private medical information about me, which they're not technically allowed to have. It starts making actuarial decisions about me based on information they can't have, or they shouldn't have and can't have under current regulation.
Yeah.
There's no reason Walmart needs to know whether or not I've been sick recently. Fuck you, selling you my groceries and your Chinese bullshit. There's no
Dorf. Not only do they not need to know, it's wrong if they do know.
Yeah,
it not only is. It's not just that. You've
never needed to know about people before. This isn't airborne AIDS. This isn't airborne AIDS. This isn't airborne Ebola. Where
and people like to think that
we could potentially have that pragmatic conversation if that was the case. We could have that conversation. This ain't it, guys.
I would still be on this side of it, but yes, we could have the conversation.
This isn't a civilization-ending event. It's not.
No. And by the way, everybody, when we talk about history, about this stuff, talk about what it's going to be like and how it's never had to be like that in the past. We're not just talking about, like, people like to think that the only past that matters is, the last 50 years. We're not just talking about going all the way back to the Spanish flu. We're not just talking about going all the way back to the founding of the United States of America or the Industrial Revolution. This is how the world's been for thousands and thousands of years. People have owned shops, been walking around maskless forever. So listen, Dorf, I want to cut off something or jump off something you said a little while, and I know we're probably getting short here, but it was hitting close to home for me when you were talking about sports, because I know how much you love sports. I used to like sports a lot too before I gave up on it all mostly. In fact, the only reason I pay attention at all is because I have a son who loves them, so I roll with that.
Josh,
I know you love sports way more than I did.
It's not just sports. I got rid of TV.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too.
There is streaming services in the house because the fiance likes them. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched Netflix, Hulu, etc. I don't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't have cable TV. I don't pay attention to this stuff. I do have 4 kids. They have devices. I'm like you, Dorf. Things are going around. Listen, for me, the thing that I loved was politics. I still pay attention to things, but I pay attention to things much differently than I used to. I used to be that guy that if you sat down with me and said, all right, Josh, name the senators.
Could write a
I could, not all 100, but I'd come damn close. I'd come damn close. You know, or just say, Josh, throw me 100 congressmen. You know, I'd rattle it off. I'm not that guy anymore. I don't pay attention to that kind of news. I was a history guy. That was my passion. You know, I wanted to be a history teacher. That didn't really work out, but I got all the credentials and degrees to do that, and you know, all the publications and theses and all that, and I still look back at that very fondly, and I still love history.
Doesn't mean you can't do it.
But it's really,
you still can.
It's not over. What's really hard, and I may at some point, but what's really hard for me, Dorf, and this is kind of like maybe a little bit how you feel with sports, but what's really hard for that is, to me, to realize that I devoted and dedicated so much of my life to studying these portions of history and this bit of politics, just to realize that it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, man. Most of that stuff does not matter. And a lot of it might just be downright fake, man. It might just be downright fake.
If it does matter, they're going to do it anyway.
Right. I love the Constitution, man. I wrote my master's thesis. I wrote one of my master's theses on as my final project on the Federalist Papers. I loved it. I'm such a huge believer in that. I loved the Constitution. I studied the Constitution for just so many hours. I couldn't count the hours that I've studied the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, and the men surrounding it. Men and women, mostly men, but men and women surrounding it. And it sucks to have that realization to say, why? We don't use the Constitution. The Constitution's dead, man. It's dead. We don't use it. This country's not free. It never really was, at least not in anyone you ever met's lifetime. It wasn't.
But it used to be a hell of a lot better than it is now.
It sure did. It did. But it sucks to come to that realization that what you believe isn't really the way you believed it. So for you people out there, I'm going to kind of wrap up what I have to say, Dorp, and then I'll throw it back to you if you got anything else you want to add. But we're talking about vaccine passports. We're talking about vaccinating the entire nation, the entire world, or damn near the entire world. And let's call it what it is, punishing those who do not wish to take the vaccine. Punishing them by saying you cannot do X, Y, and Z.
They're not throwing you in prison. They're not fining you, but they're going to make sure you won't be able to participate in polite society.
Right. Punishing. They're punishing you to do this. Now, keep in mind, I'm not telling you not to take the vaccine, by the way. But how many of you out there would go to a restaurant that said, we got great burgers here, everybody loves them, but they're not FDA approved? They're not FDA approved. How many of you I'd eat it? I would go there because but I'm the guy I'll field dress a deer and then, go have part of it for dinner that night.
You'll rip the heart out and eat it, while it's still being
right. I'm that guy. But some of you out there listening, or some of you out there listening know somebody who wouldn't dream of going to that restaurant and ordering a burger that wasn't FDA approved. Well, guess what? When you hear those propaganda machine commercials on your radio talking about how the vaccine is FDA authorized is a pretty word saying that the FDA isn't shutting it down. They're not stopping you from getting it, but it's not approved. This is still a test right now. Now, I feel like when that's happening, if someone out there was on the fence, they should be allowed to be on the fence and maybe decide, I'm going to wait a little while on this vaccine. I'm not comfortable with it yet. But you can't do that when they tell you, oh, and by the way, if you're on the fence, you're going to get fired from your job and you can't go on an airplane, and you might not be able to go to Walmart, and oh, and your woke daughter isn't going to let you see your grandkids anymore because vaccine. That's what's happening though. That's what's happening. So, welcome to the Show Me Your Papers world please. Of the future. That is where you are headed. That is what is going on right now. So you can stand up and say something, or you can keep calling people like me a tinfoil hat weirdo, or just telling me to conform. Just conform. Do what you're told. Be a good little follower. At this point,
the amount of people
I have no idea. Dorf, I have no idea if this was ever about a virus. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Certainly
but if it was ever about a virus, it's not now. And if you don't see that, if people out there don't see that, shame on you. Shame on you. Because I said a year ago, I'll finish up with this, or if you had something else you want to throw out there. But I said when this started that I thought this was a test. I didn't think this was the real Milton William Cooper tinfoil hat New World Order thing. I thought this was a test. It might have been originally, but if it was a test, we failed.
Horribly.
We failed that test miserably.
Absolutely horribly.
We failed it. This is not a D-. This is not a get some extra credit and we can raise it to
15%.
We failed. Right. We failed miserably. And it might just be over, guys. You know, it might just be over. Dorf and I might be here preaching this stuff way too late. Because I thought a lot of this was triggered. Here, I'll throw a little bit more tinfoil hat stuff out for you. Thought a lot of this was triggered with Jeffrey Epstein, to be honest with you. I think some powers that be thought, yikes, they got a little get close on that one, didn't they? All those memes, all that talk, all those jokes, they almost killed us with the lulls on that one. Killed us with the memes. But they hit us hard, and I thought I still am not totally unsure that it wasn't a test, but maybe the test just worked so well that they said, just keep pushing, because these people buy anything, and it also shows that we as a people are so intolerant of the least bit of discomfort that we will do anything. The idea that
that's a very good point. We are
right. The idea that what, they won't let me go to Target? What do I have to do to go to Target? I have to wear a mask. I have to crawl on my hands and knees. I have to let them take my temperature. I gotta let them anal swab me on the way in. I'll do whatever you want. What? I gotta lick a dead squirrel to go. Okay, if you say so. It's what the science says, right? You do it. And if you're out there cheering me on, saying, "Don't say I do it, Josh," you know somebody who would. That's all I got for you guys. But I'm just telling you, those people, you think this sucks? Not good enough. Do more. Get out there and push, because this is about to get really bad, guys. Could get really bad.
That's a great way to end it right there. So that's what we'll do. Thanks for joining us here. This is episode 30, the Brian Exile podcast. We aim to do the unfortunately life circumstances over the next couple months that may not be a reality, but we'll at least try. So, I am Dwarf. We will see you guys all next time.